things by Tommy Dorsey, and so it features a whole trombone section. So you heard from Evan Drum on lead, Rusty on second, Tim Pickup on third. Our winger that we added for the section for about 4 or 5 tunes, this is Max Reed playing fourth over here. So give Max and Roger Mann on bass trombone. We have another ringer that you see kind of sneak in and out, and his name is Michael Pruitt. He's on the end down here playing trumpet. I think, let's see, we've heard from, I was going to introduce folks who you haven't seen. You've heard from Brian, you've heard from Floyd, you've heard from Vince, you've heard from Jared. On the in-playing Barry Sykes, another Del City person and a graduate of UCO or Central State. This is David Smith. You've heard from Lee, you've heard from Paul. So the guy standing next to Lee is the guy who runs the entire Jazz Lab. This is Mr. Clint Rohr. And the guy standing in the middle is responsible for all the trumpet players around this neck of the woods and these parts. This is Dr. Ryan Sharp. I got Roger, yes. Danny said he brought his banjo so he could park in the handicap spot, so that's why. Have I told you the story? He went downtown the other day and he had his banjo on his back seat. Have I told you this story? No. He had his banjo on his back seat and they went into one of the buildings downtown. When he came out, the back window of his car was completely bashed out. Yeah, it was really bad, and there were 2 banjos in his back seat. Yeah. His insurance won't do anything about it either. He's stuck with both banjos. All right, enough comedy jokes. The next thing we're going to do is feature Mr. Goyle on a great tune that kind of, Liam, am I correct? This kind of came out of the Kenton Library at one time. Beautiful ballad called Yesterdays. Here's Brian Goyle. This next tune was made famous, of course, by Dizzy Gillespie, and then Nestico got a hold of it and turned it into a great feature for a trumpet player, and we're going to open it up for Lee and for Jared, and you're going to hear from Brett on this one as well. And it's called A Night in Tunisia. Jared was sounding so good we had him play another half course. All right, we've got one more tune for you, but we want to thank you so much for coming out and being a gracious audience and hanging with us this evening. I'll tell you about a couple things this band's going to do. We have a 24th, which is a Saturday. The great Los Angeles big band and fusion drummer David Anderson, who is an alum of this program, is going to come here on the 24th, and we're going to put some semblance of this group with David. September 24th, yes. They'll be back here in 2 days, so it'll be something, but it won't be David Anderson. I think there's an accordion convention that day, so yeah, it'll be great. September the 24th. And then during the week of the 26th, throughout Edmond, we're going to host the first annual Edmond and UCO Joint Jazz Festival. We used to have one that was in Hafer Park that my little brother started 100 years ago. And then it moved over to this place and it kind of went bust after a while. And so we're going to restart one, but it's going to be in September. So it's nice to sit outside at a restaurant or something and enjoy jazz. A lot of the student groups will be involved. Each night there'll be a concert here at the lab, and the Thursday night, the 29th, there'll be, again, some semblance of this group. Will be here the 29th of September. So within 5 days of each other, you'll get all of the Edmond Jazz Orchestra you can stand. The 29th, we think that we're going to do kind of a tribute to Basie concert. So if you like the music of Count Basie and people who played in Count Basie's band, which is Brian and myself and who else played in Basie's band? We did it one time. Oh, and Paul played in Basie's band one time. But we'll do some lots of Count Basie tunes. We'd love to have you back at that time. So we're going to do one more tune for you.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? Oh, Take You. Okay. Yes, as Lawrence Buck said, this is Take a Train. And this features as soloist. We will hear again from Eva. And we'll hear from who else? Oh, and Clint on this one, that's right. Is that it? That's all the terror that we're going to... Oh, and David playing cowbell. Okay, is that what you're doing? All right, so here is a Don Sebesky arrangement, which was featured prominently by Maynard Ferguson Orchestra, called Take the A Train. One, two, one.